But I do want to clarify why Bernard Hopkins and I weren't at the post-fight press conference. First of all, Bernard Hopkins was accused during the weigh-in of having testosterone cream on his hands and touching Gervonta Davis when he only wanted to help him because he was going to fall off the stage. PBC, Gervonta's promoter, banned him from everything. He couldn't get inside the ring. He couldn't do anything during the promotion.
PBC representation and promoter, lead promoter, claps back at Oscar De La Hoya's claims, and they go into further detail. So, Brittany Goossen-Brown, who is with TGB, which works with PBC. Oscar De La Hoya, the video you've seen at the beginning that I played was his response. It took like 24, 48 hours for him to come up with that. He said he received death threats, really weird. I've already did a separate video talking about Oscar's video in full. Make sure you check that on the channel, and then you can maybe come back to this one if you haven't seen it to get the full scoop on the video. But I want to talk about the BHOP part because now we have someone from the PBC side that has clapped back. And again, that's Brittany Goossen-Brown. Here's what she had to say. Quote, LOL, Bernard Hopkins had his in-ring access revoked after the weigh-in footage was reviewed, and it confirmed that he pushed his way in. He sure loves the attention and put his hands on Tank Davis. He was on stage as a Nevada licensed co-promoter, and he knows better than to ever put his hands on a fighter. She goes on to say, he made his way to our side and to Tank with the intention of causing a problem. We, TGB Promotions, as the lead promoter, then pulled his ring access, Bernard Hopkins. No goons, no threats. He still had a credential, an all-access one. So meaning he can do the other promotional things, which we'll get to. The only, quote, ban was to not enter the ring following the fight where he could incite more chaos or trouble. Oscar De La Hoya is a liar and a bad one at that. LOL. The, quote, scary threats were so scary all week that it only stopped him from going to the closed to the public, verified media only presser. LOL. He's as corny as his clothing, end quote. Oh, we got some heat from Brittany Goossen-Brown. Let's get it. F with your soul like ether. She came with the ether. Now, I told you Oscar De La Hoya's whole story sounds fishy. As far as the DTs, I mean, that is stupid because Oscar's a professional prize fighter. He said he had a security detail. Only after Ryan loses by KO, your biggest star that signed with Golden Boy Promotion with that big of a following, that's the only time where you feel your life or your safety is at peril or at risk. But you're in a sea of people at a public, open to the public free weigh-in. There could have been a sniper. If you're really worried about your safety, there could have been a sniper like on some JFK stuff. So if you were getting death threats all week, then why would you go where there's open to the public and open space and air if you're really concerned about that, where maybe someone can get to you? Versus post-fight, I said in my last video, that's cap because I've been to several post-fight pressers. You can't get back there unless you have a credential pass. So why is the Ghostface Killer or whoever is threatening Oscar De La Hoya, they wouldn't even be able to get back anywhere to get to him? And as far as Bernard Hopkins, I said it initially and I'm standing on that 10 toes down. He had no reason to touch Gervonta Davis. De La Hoya says, oh, he was about to fall off of the ledge. Well, guess what? Let him fall. Gervonta Davis has never fell off a stage to my knowledge. Tensions are high. He's hungry because he's just made weight. Ryan's hungry because he's just made weight. There's bad blood. You've been trash talking him all week. Golden Boy, Oscar, Bernard Hopkins did several interviews that said Tank ain't this and Tank gonna get slept. Tank is dehydrated. These types of things Bernard Hopkins was saying in interviews. He knows better than to touch someone. You're not cool with him. You don't have no history with him. And the tensions are high because it's just fight week. All the 6 to 10 weeks that Gervonta and Ryan have spent disciplining themselves and readying themselves for the fight, they don't want no ops touching them. It's common sense. The beef was between Ryan and Gervonta Davis, and they settled it like men in the ring in the square circle, much like De La Hoya when he had problems with Mayorga or Fernando Vargas or Bernard Hopkins and Roy or Bernard Hopkins and whoever. You settle it like men. there was really, again, no reason for BHOP to have touched Gervonta Davis, especially when he don't know you like that. So PBC is right in banning him from the in-ring stuff. Again, Oscar is making it sound like he was banned from everything. The weigh-in was on Friday, fight was on Saturday. So if Brittany Goossen, which sounds like what she's saying is very logical, I mean, what couldn't Bernard Hopkins do? It was, you only had one day and then Ryan got knocked out, fight's over. So all that I think is really cap, and they're trying to find reasons to justify, because it was so poorly received, why no one from Ryan's team outside of his immediate family and a couple like lesser positioned Golden Boy people, less noted, like Eric Gomez, he's the president of Golden Boy, but when people are doing and he don't do the interviews like Oscar and Bernard Hopkins because they're former fighters, so they're already famous. Eric Gomez doesn't have the same fame because he's not a fighter, he's not a former fighter, so people wanted to see that representation. De La Hoya says that he left Eric Gomez with Ryan's team, so he was fine and everything was fine. But if you guys are receiving threats, why would you leave Ryan Garcia and Eric Gomez, your childhood friend and president of your company, with potential threats? Wouldn't you just be like, hey, press conference is canceled, this is a security or safety risk, and we don't want to be a part of it. It's too hostile or volatile or whatever the situation is. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. PBC claps back and explains the BHOP situation. Again, he had no right to touch Tank Davis. I can understand a ban for that because they're not going to give you the opportunity to do it again. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Best in the business, and I'm out.